Listen to me very carefully and do not dismiss this. What I'm about to say is not speculation, it's not hype, and it's not designed to scare you for clicks. This is a structural warning. A few hours ago, I received a call from someone operating at the highest levels of the crypto industry. This is not a commentator or an influencer. This is someone with direct visibility into exchange operations, liquidity flows, and counterparty exposure across multiple jurisdictions. What I was told raised immediate red flags. There is a major centralized crypto exchange, significantly larger than FTX ever was at its peak, currently operating under conditions where even a moderate deterioration could trigger a rapid failure cascade. I'm choosing my words carefully, but understand this clearly. If this escalates, the damage will not start with price. It will start with access. Withdrawals delayed, accounts frozen, and the moment millions of people realize that what they thought they owned, they never actually controlled. True wealth has never been built by reacting late. It has always been built by positioning before the crowd, by identifying undervalued opportunities early, by understanding structure before narrative, by finding assets that can compound asymmetrically and change outcomes over time. That's exactly what my proven 100x stock formula is designed to do. It's a step-by-step system built to uncover life-changing opportunities before they become obvious. You can access it now using code MILLIONAIRE for a special Christmas discount, and by depositing just $100 on Moomoo, you can receive free NVDA stock worth up to $1,000, linked in the description. Over the next 30 days, your custody decisions may matter more than at any other point in this market cycle. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to walk you through exactly how to reduce exposure, the mistakes people make right before exchange failures, and the security decisions that actually protect wealth when liquidity disappears. If you've followed my work for any amount of time, you already know I don't chase narratives. I don't chase hype. I focus on systemic risk. I focus on what breaks under pressure. I've warned about dormant Bitcoin wallets, leverage hidden inside platforms marketed as safe, and stablecoins that rely more on confidence than collateral. Exchanges are not the only risk in crypto, but they are the fastest and most efficient way people lose everything. Exchange risk is uniquely dangerous because it never announces itself. There is no alert, no countdown, no banner that says collapse incoming. Everything looks normal until it doesn't. Withdrawals slow, customer support goes silent, incentives turn aggressive, yields spike without explanation. Behind the scenes, liquidity is being shuffled to plug holes that should never have existed. This is not theory. This is exactly how FTX unfolded. It was not a one-off event. It was a structural failure. And those same structures still exist today. Here is the core misunderstanding that wipes people out every cycle. Crypto was designed to remove trust from the system. Centralized exchanges reintroduce trust as a requirement. The moment you hold assets on an exchange, you are not an owner. You are an unsecured creditor. You do not control the underlying asset. You control a promise. And promises are the first thing that break under stress. That is why every major failure ends with the same sentence. Withdrawals are temporarily suspended. That sentence is the dividing line between paper wealth and permanent loss. Once it's said, you are no longer an investor. You are a spectator. Zoom out. Look at the environment objectively. Global liquidity is tightening. Regulatory pressure is accelerating. Market makers are reducing exposure. Stablecoins are under increasing scrutiny. At the same time, speculative assets remain heavily inflated. Meme coins, hollow projects, ecosystems with no users, no revenue, no utility. This is how perfect storms form, not from a single event, but from multiple fragile systems being stressed simultaneously. I've said this publicly before, and I stand by it more than ever. The overwhelming majority of cryptocurrencies will not survive long term. Temporary pumps do not equal durability. Assets that don't solve real problems for real users at scale eventually disappear. When Brad Garlinghouse said that 99% of crypto would vanish, he wasn't exaggerating. History follows the same pattern in every technological wave. Excess comes first, speculation follows, then consolidation wipes out everything non-essential. That's why my first risk reduction principle right now is simple. Eliminate unnecessary exposure. If you're holding meme coins, purely speculative tokens, or assets that exist only because of hype cycles, you are gambling in a fragile system. This is not the time to gamble. This is the time to focus on assets with real-world integration, regulatory clarity, and long-term relevance. Assets that have survived multiple market collapses. Assets institutions can actually use. Utility matters. Transparency matters. Longevity matters. When liquidity disappears, narratives don't save you. Infrastructure does. Let's talk about exchanges, because this is where most people get wiped out. Do I use exchanges? Yes. Anyone active in markets does. But exchanges are tools, not vaults. They are not banks. They are not safes. And they are absolutely not where long-term wealth belongs. The most expensive mistake in crypto is confusing convenience with safety. Leaving funds parked because it's easy is exactly what costs people everything when something breaks. The correct approach is ruthless minimization of exposure. Use exchanges to enter positions. Use them to execute trades. But once the trade is done, custody must shift immediately. Personally, I keep only a very small fraction of my capital on exchanges, primarily stable coins for short-term execution. The moment profits are realized, assets are converted and moved off platform. That process is non-negotiable. This is where cold wallets stop being a buzzword and become a survival tool. Proper self-custody removes counterparty risk entirely. No exchange failure can touch it. No withdrawal freeze can reach it. No balance sheet problem can affect it. But this is critical. A cold wallet is only as safe as the person using it. Most self-custody losses do not come from wallet hacks. They come from human error. The single most common mistake is storing seed phrases digitally. Screenshots, notes apps, cloud backups, emails. Malware doesn't need to break encryption if you hand it the keys. Once a seed phrase exists digitally, it is no longer private, only undiscovered. And eventually, it is discovered. Never create a digital copy. Ever. Write it down physically. Better yet, engrave it into something that cannot burn, flood, or decay. Titanium exists for a reason. It's not overkill. It's insurance. And everyone who loses their funds says the same thing afterward. I didn't think it would happen to me. Security failures don't care what you think. Another accelerating risk is social engineering. Fake accounts, impersonators, AI-generated profiles, deepfake videos. These attacks grow more sophisticated every week. If someone contacts you claiming to be me, it isn't me. If someone asks for your keys, it's a scam. If someone promises guaranteed returns, it's a lie. Fear creates urgency. Urgency creates mistakes, and scammers thrive in that environment. Exchange failures never happen in isolation. They ripple. Liquidity dries up. Forced selling begins. Artificially inflated assets collapse first. Avoiding unstable systems is not bearish. It's strategic. Capital preservation always comes before capital growth. As conditions tighten, the shift is inevitable. From speculation to positioning. From chasing returns to protecting control. From trusting platforms to owning keys. This transition happens through deliberate actions, reducing exchange balances, simplifying portfolios, prioritizing assets with real-world relevance, tightening security. What's coming next is not about panic, it's about preparation. Market collapses don't destroy opportunity, they destroy weak positioning. The same environments that wipe out leverage quietly redistribute capital to discipline. Survivors don't look smarter in hindsight, they were simply prepared. They controlled risk before it mattered. They chose ownership over convenience. They didn't confuse price with value. Trust is now being tested everywhere. Exchanges, stablecoins, liquidity providers, custodians. When trust becomes the variable, decentralization matters again, not as ideology, but as necessity. Self-custody becomes the difference between access and helplessness. This is also where utility-focused assets like XRP are misunderstood. The story has never been price. It's integration, survival under regulation, functioning inside the real financial system. Assets that work with banks, payment rails, settlement infrastructure, and compliance frameworks don't disappear when narratives shift. They embed, they harden. This is not financial advice. But when stress hits the system, capital doesn't just flee risk. It migrates toward infrastructure, toward assets that remain usable when speculation dries up, toward networks institutions don't have to apologize for touching. Utility is no longer optional. It's a filter. And most projects fail it instantly. Timing matters. Exchange failures don't happen at market tops. They happen during uncertainty, boredom, sideways action. When attention fades, that's when internal weaknesses can't be hidden. By the time headlines appear, the damage is done. Reacting late is the most expensive move in crypto. The moment withdrawals pause, your options collapse to zero. Conviction doesn't matter if you don't control access. So how do you position correctly? Simplify. Complexity is risk. If you can't explain why you hold an asset in one sentence, reconsider it. Separate trading from holding. Trading capital moves. Long-term capital is secured. Assume platforms can fail, not because they will, but because they can. That assumption changes everything. You stop chasing yield. You stop trusting dashboards. You start acting like an owner, not a user. Fear makes people freeze or overreact. Both destroy capital. The correct response is methodical adjustment. Reduce exposure, improve custody, improve information quality. Social media amplifies extremes. Reality moves slower. What we're witnessing is maturation through stress, and maturation is uncomfortable. You don't need rumours. You don't need insider names. You don't need to guess which exchange fails. You only need to accept that centralized risk exists and remove yourself from it proactively. That alone puts you ahead of the majority. Regulatory clarity is not a threat to real crypto. It's a threat to nonsense. Patience is the edge. Real wealth in crypto has never come from constant movement. It comes from early positioning, secure custody, and time. The most successful participants are not the most active. They are the most selective. Cold storage becomes discipline. When assets aren't one click away, emotional decisions fade, long-term thinking grows, and that's where asymmetric returns live. One final risk is dependency. Outsourcing thinking to platforms, alerts, and influencers. When those fail or go silent, people freeze. Real confidence comes from understanding structure, not headlines. Crypto has never been about getting rich fast. It's about not getting wiped out while positioning for exponential upside. Every cycle ends the same way. Speed chasers disappear. Durability builders remain. After every collapse, the market is smaller, cleaner, and stronger. That's not bad. That's necessary. If you feel uneasy, that's awareness. Turn awareness into action. Tighten security. Reduce exposure. Focus on what matters. Ignore the noise. Because when the dust settles, and it always does, the people who controlled risk will control opportunity. Not during chaos, after it. If you want to unlock the secret to 100x your wealth with my proven 100x stock formula, use code MILLIONAIRE for a special Christmas discount. Deposit just $100 on Moomoo to receive free MVDA stock worth up to $1,000. Link below. Take control of your custody. Take control of your strategy. And most importantly, take control of your future. I'll see you in the next one.